Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is the lovely Maki Roll. Hey Maki.
Hello, how are
Uh,
you?
I am doing well. I am doing quite well. How are you?
All things considered, I am
Mhm.
doing well.
Definitely, definitely. And it's great to see you again. I saw you some time ago when you were on our Tantalizing Tuesdays. And to our viewers, if you have not been watching Tantalizing Tuesdays, get into it, girl. What are you doing? But you were lovely on that, and we had a great chat then, and I learned so much about you. So it's so great to have you back here with us on our one-on-one. I love our one-on-one. But how has the pandemic been for you overall so far? Because I know things and times change. Even within the pandemic so far, things and times have been changing.
Yes, things are constantly changing,
Yeah.
and I think I've kind of gone through the pandemic in like waves. So
Mhm.
there's like waves of like sadness and waves of just unproductivity. And then there are waves where you just want to do everything and you want to
Yeah.
do all the things. And I think I'm thankfully in the productivity stage. So right now I am just in a do everything stage. I just built a giant computer.
Wow.
so yes, so I've been really leaning into a lot of hobbies and things that I had put on the back burner because I was
Yeah.
so busy. But since I'm not, might as well do them.
Of course, of course. And this is the perfect time to be doing that. Now you're a performer, the house don't like, and there's a lot that you do when it comes to that. And a part of that too is cosplaying, which I kind of want to talk about. Tell me about your aesthetic when it comes to whenever you're going to dress up, when it comes to cosplay, when it comes to, that expression. Tell me what's the aesthetic that you lean towards?
So when I do cosplay, I pick a lot of strong characters.
Hmm.
So I like to pick characters that I would like to embody. So I do Storm, I've done Gamora from Guardians of the
Yes.
Galaxy, I've done a lot of Mortal Kombat characters. So I like to pick I like to pick characters that kind of have this like strong embodiment of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I like picking characters. It doesn't matter the gender.
Mm-hmm.
I like really pushing that boundary and seeing kind of like whether or not I want to make something,
Mm-hmm.
masculine, or
Yes.
maybe I want to do kind of like a more feminine version of it.
Yeah.
So I kind of play with cosplay, and I don't. My thing isn't so much accuracy as and like what the character kind of looks and feels like to me.
I see, and I love that, and I love how you mentioned that. For you, gender really isn't a factor when it comes to that, because I think, honestly, as humans moving forward into the future, playing with gender and understanding that gender is a spectrum, and understanding that we are all on that gender spectrum, we can play with gender, we can be, sail along the gender lines, do
Yes.
all of that. It is beautiful. I mean, honestly, I have a mole right here that isn't real. It's created with eyeliner.
Look.
And just
Excuse
little
me.
things like that. Just little things like that. You know what I mean? I was in the mall because I guess the mall just opened up, and I was just there yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was getting a new phone case. Well, my friend was getting a new phone case, and the guy behind the counter, he was like, boy or girl, and I was like, sir, gender is a construct, tear it apart, we
Yeah,
don't
like
care,
no.
just bring the
For
cases, girl.
phone
A
cases?
phone case. He said for a boy or a girl. I'm like, girl, no, it's
Like, what are
neither.
these McDonald's toys? Like, no.
Like, no, let me see what's going on. No, you also do burlesque. Now, tell me about that. Tell me about your first time in burlesque.
Whew. So my first time in burlesque was not that great. I'm gonna
Hmm.
spare you the details, but I was a part of a zombie pinup calendar because
Hmm.
I'm just about the weirdo lifestyle.
Of
And
course.
so one of the things for our promotional tour, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
was a burlesque show. And for me, I was like, why not? This seems really, really cool. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Let me just dive into it. And when I dove in, it was kind of like a trip, and I fell like face first.
Wow.
And it was terrible. I knew nothing about costuming, and well, I knew about costuming, but not in what it meant in terms of burlesque. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just put on anything. I was a zombie cheerleader, so I had a really terrible Halloween store
Oh,
costume,
wow.
no rhinestones. It was a mess. Looking back on it, I cringe. But
Oh my God.
through that, I was able to blossom and learn the value of rhinestone.
Of course. Listen, honey, you know, the stones, it's got to be stoned, honey. It has got to be stoned, giving you all that baba boom.
Look.
We love it. Tell me, what's your favorite type of music to do a burlesque performance? So what do you lean into when you're doing that?
Ooh. It really depends on the mood of the character. I do a lot of
Hmm.
nerdlesque,
Yeah.
so a lot of my performance in burlesque is like character driven. So
Yes.
with that, I try to pick things that or songs rather that speak to the character or speak to how I want that character to feel in that moment. And a lot of what I do is slow. I like a
Hmm.
good slow tease song.
Yes.
But also when I'm feeling like super in your face and like ass kicky, I
Yeah.
like something with like high rhythm and like
Hmm.
heavy bass. So like it really, I guess it really just depends on what I want to dance to, and I just like dancing to a lot.
Oh, of course, of course. And you know, you, as you said, you do nerdlesque, so you basically merge your burlesque with your cosplay and your nerdism, as one would say. Tell me about that nerd culture and cosplay culture. Do you go to cons and stuff like that and do all of that?
Whew, do I go to cons? So,
Yes.
so in the yesteryear of 2005,
Hmm.
baby Maki Roll went to her first anime convention ever, dressed
Hmm.
as Inuyasha. It was
Yes,
really
I live.
And my mother helped me with the costume, helped me sew the
Hmm.
entire thing. I went and got, like, this was back when you couldn't find wigs, like, readily on
Yes, of
Amazon.
course.
So I
Hmm.
went to Party City. It was a mess. But
Honey, the
I,
mid 2000s jumped out.
whew, whew, the plastic, like, you could feel the plastic of the hair just, like, melting your scalp. It was terrible. But I felt good. And through that, I started going to conventions more and really, like I said, just leaned into cosplay and leaned into
Hmm.
that community because it was people who were like me and who
Yeah.
liked the things that I liked. And through that, I got into burlesque and discovered that nerdlesque was a subset of burlesque.
Hmm.
And I just I ran with it. I started, I wanted to be in nerdlesque shows. And then I was like, there aren't enough nerdlesque shows. Why don't I make nerdlesque shows?
Yeah.
And then I started producing shows. My very first show was a show called Bump and Grimes. And it
Ooh.
was a
Ah,
tribute to The Walking Dead.
of course.
And and from there I never stopped because I
Hmm.
love this kind of intersection of nerd culture and sexuality, and I think
Hmm.
it's so cool. It's like an erotic fan fiction come to life.
Oh, I love that. That's a good way to put it. And now, speaking of that, you are queer, you are a woman of color. Tell me how, those intersections, how that is for you in the cosplay community, in the nerd community, in the anime community when it comes to burlesque. How does those intersections, how does it complicate things? How does it make things easier? What is it giving?
So a thing that I have found with a lot of subcultures is that it those subcultures present very white and very cis, and for me that was definitely indicative of nerdlesque and cosplay when I started. When I first started cosplay, there was one thread on cosplay.com for Black cosplayers, and that's how we would all communicate, and that's how we would all just share each other, and there was no Facebook or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm like aging myself, but there was just that one thing, that one hub, and now there's so much for us, but it's not without a fight. It's not
Yeah.
because we push to be included in those spaces. And for me, with me and Nerdlesque specifically, when I first started burlesque in general, I was told, stay in one lane, stay in maybe classic burlesque, maybe deviate to neo a little bit. Black women don't fare well in Nerdlesque. And I was just like, well, that's what I want to do the most. So for me, I've found that there's so much more inclusion now than there ever was, but it's because we have people that are fighting for those spaces. Within this community, Midori Minx creates amazing nerdlesque shows, and Magic Dyke is just one of...
Oh my God, I love Magic Dyke. Yes.
If you have not seen Magic Dyke's Mbaku act, you are completely missing out. And I feel like that's the kind of thing that you didn't used to see out of Nerdlesque. You didn't used to see queer Black people just in their element doing something nerdy and sexy and fun. And that is the thing that I love the most. And that's the thing that I kind of hold on to when, the communities are bad, and the communities have been bad. There have been a lot of things that have come to light within, the recent months, and a lot of things that have us really questioning our communities. But I think more than ever, we're leaning in and figuring out how we can make our presence bigger within the nerd community, because Black people, we're the culture across everything.
Yes.
Even the nerdy community. And I think it's just so cool that there are spaces for us now. There's BlurredCon, there's QuirkCon, there's like so many spaces for us, and they're just getting bigger.
Of course, definitely. Now tell me, creatively, what are you working on right now? What do you have, upcoming? What are you feeling in your soul creatively right now?
So right now, I did mention that I just built a gigantic PC, and that is because I plan to start streaming on Twitch soon.
Oh, love it.
So I am gonna start streaming video games and kind of my hobbies, because I ever since I was a little wee baby on the internet, I have just loved interacting and kind of like being with people without really being with people.
Yes.
And Twitch is really cool, and it's an excuse for me to play video games, which I haven't done in a long time. So there's that, and I will also be participating and co-hosting in the D20 Burlesque Gen Con virtual show, which is one of the biggest and best, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in it, but it is one of the biggest and best nerdlesque shows in the country, and I'm just very excited that it is going to be virtual, so you all can get kind of like a feel of what it is, and then hopefully next year, we will be able to perform for you all in person, and much more people will be interested in tabletop gaming.
Of course, of course. And listen, we honestly cannot wait for that. I personally would love to see that. And we do hope, things are different next year. We are all hoping that things are different next year. Now, before we go, if our viewers would like to follow you, to support you, how can they go ahead and do that?
You can follow me. I am pretty much everywhere. You can follow me on Instagram at Maki Roll Official. You can follow me on Twitter at Maki Roll OFC. You can follow me on Twitch at Maki Streams and on Facebook at Maki Rolls Chop Shop. So
Yeah.
all of the Maki Rolls, that's me, except
And
no
you
substitutions.
you can give out your Venmo and Cash App too, honey, because when you perform or when they
Oh.
see anything, and if they want to give you a little bit of a tip,
Well, if
we
you
know
want
we like
to,
tips.
just a little, just the tip.
Just the
Um,
tip.
both of those, Cash App and Venmo, are Maki Roll Official as well. So if you're
Thank
feeling a little
you.
generous.
We would love that. Thank you so much, Maki, for joining me today. It was an immense pleasure having this chat with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for what you do.
Of course, thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching.